Yes, it is. Good morning.
Yay! Good morning, everyone.
Everyone.
Took a bit, but we don't quit.
Happy Monday. Sorry that we're a little late, but my hubby had some technical
We
difficulties.
did, we did, we did. We don't have all the technical stuff perfect like we'd like it yet, but we're getting there,
We're getting there.
beat by beat. The importance is that you don't stop. You don't quit when it's frustrating, and it can be frustrating. It can. You just keep going. You're just like, oh, whatever the next thing is. Shirley Huzar. Who's that? Is that Shirley Huzar? Are you back from D.C., back in rainy, ugly California? Everything there smells like pot. Everything in LA smells like weed. Hey, and who else
Hello,
we got?
Shirley and Sandra.
And Sandra. Hey, how y'all doing? It is pleasure to have people on board. um, thank you so much. Today's today's topic. Yeah, you see that on our screen, how the hearts are exploding and staying on the screen. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any earthly idea why that is, but I appreciate it.
They did it last week, too.
Yeah, it's Facebook. Yay, Facebook. Thank you. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you. Um, Today's topic, it was one that I guess it's on me. Was it on me?
Yes, this was your week.
This is my week. Um, it's the I wonder what people think about. Oh, and people are hopping on. Hey, Daisy. People, the importance of stopping the full blown fights. A lot of times, you can, Marvin, I think you can stop the full blown fights by addressing the smaller skirmishes. And sometimes I think from the husband's viewpoint, because I got to do the topic, that what you do is you get to either address it in a way that is going to escalate, or you address it in a way that you believe is not going to escalate. And I use the analogy of the boiling pot. And the boiling pot, I use that for a very good reason, because when the pot boils over, the hot water comes out and people get hurt. So if the idea is that if you can keep the pot from boiling over, then maybe you can keep people from being hurt. Maybe because there are some things, frankly, after 31 years, you just decide to ignore.
Yes.
You make the decision to ignore.
You make the decision to have peace.
Well,
You
and you've said that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's all in balancing. It goes back to our original point when we started doing this, these live casts, is that is it more important than the relationship? Ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that after you've been married a while, you really start thinking more long term. It's funny because it seems to be just the opposite of what you think it'd be. You think when you're younger you'd be thinking long term, but you're not. And when you're older and closer to the right side of the dash in your life, you'd be thinking more short term, but you're not. The older you get, the more long term you think. So ultimately, is this going to be this thing that's got you bugged right now? Is this going to be something that you escalate to the point of having a full blown knockdown, drag out, door slamming, not talking for 3 days fight about?
Sleeping on the sofa.
Sleeping on the sofa fight? Are you?
Or the spare bedroom.
Are you really? Are you really? And you know what? And people who do marriage counseling all the time talk about the divorces and the big fights and the separations that they counsel that started off with something
simple,
ridiculous. Usually,
something very simple. Usually, it's something very small, but I know as a woman, sometimes you have things just backed up in there, and that one little thing is what just pops the whole balloon, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna say it all. And I've been there. I know how it is. It's like you've held little things and said, no, I haven't said this and I haven't said that, and then all of that is in the back of your head. And then when one little thing happens, you start arguing about it, and all that other stuff comes up.
and this is why guys are different, because we don't.
Usually, you don't.
Don't.
But
I don't go back. I don't go back 14 years and go, you remember back when we lived over
I don't
there?
go that far back.
You remember? And like,
It's usually a few months back
and
or
guys, even if
something.
it's four, even a few months, guys go, no, no, I don't remember. We live our lives, fortunately, a lot like goldfish. The second time around the bowl, we're like, ooh, this is new.
Dory.
Mm-hmm. Back on the bowl. Oh, when did this get here? The truth. That's right. That's how we live, and I think it's a good thing. That's how we live. You know, a lot of times, because that's what guys don't do. Guys don't. Guys tend to, not always, but guys tend to try to address whatever is happening now and not necessarily attach it. Now, I've taught you guys before is because of the design of the brain. So when they tell you that men and women are the same, they are lying to you. It's a lie from the pit of hell. They are lying to you to gain control of you to make you buy a book or something because it's just not true. It's not science. It's just not true. It just isn't. It's the idea is that men and women are wired very differently, and this is why Debbie mentions.
Hey, Daisy.
It's your cousin. It's your cousin. Your cousin. What's up, cousin? We're wired very differently in the sense that like that Debbie says, when one thing triggers something else, and then the floodgates open, and it's because the brain is wired. All those things are wired to the emotional centers of things, so things stay there. Men aren't wired that. I mean, there aren't nearly as many connections back and forth. So,
train track.
if this thing stop here. If it starts here, there's nothing that leads to the other side. There's nothing that leads to the other side. So it's just that thing right there. But in any case, I think that it is important to decide early in a disagreement that you are either going to solve it, frankly, or you're going to squash it. Are you going to list it? Are you going to love it?
Love it or
are you going to
list
list it?
That's one of our favorite shows.
You know, and that's basically it. You know what? If you're going to love it, then you're going to work on it and make it better, like on the show. Mm-hmm. If you're going to list it, then you're just going to forget it and let it go.
Sell it, get it out of your life.
Get it out of your life. I think that's the only way to do it. When you have those disagreements, you can either love it or list it.
Yes. Ladies, you can't harbor stuff and hold on to it and then, bring it up to them a year later when you're in the argument about him not helping you with the dishes or, something simple and basic that, and you finally have that chance to argue with them about it, and then you bring up all these things. Well, it's time to learn to let things go if you want to keep a healthy marriage. You have to learn to let things go. And I think, and that goes in all relationships, I feel, in your work relationships. I mean, that's why women have such a hard time working together. Sometimes,
what did you say?
Women have a hard time working together because we harbor things.
I ain't said that.
Remember last year when you wouldn't let me switch vacations with you and blah, 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 blah. And remember last week when you had this off and I couldn't get it off. And, it's so many things that we harbor and we think about, well, you didn't let me do this and you didn't let me do that and blah, blah, blah. And life would be so less stressful and so easier in everything if you just let things go.
I'm going to get Debbie to say something fairly controversial. In Debbie's former life, as a branch manager, when she started, her branch looked like a bunch of girls.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of...
Because basically most tellers
are women. People who work in the banking industry, especially at the entry-level positions, are mostly women. So, and after a number of years with... dang near an all-girl branch, Debbie thought that it might be different if she could tamp down some of the drama, and she learned when she started hiring a few dudes that the drama sort of tamped down a little bit. Yeah. And then I think she went on a campaign I'm gonna say it now because she's not there anymore. She's not at that branch anymore. I think she went on the camp. I think from my perspective, when I would walk in, it's like a sausage fest. There were so many dudes. There were so many dudes working in there. There were just so many guys working in that branch. And there seemed to be a lot more laughter. There seemed to be a lot. I mean, it just seemed to be a lot easier. And you came. I'm getting you to say you came home more days than not, a lot stressed because all the little stuff just wasn't there anymore.
Mm-hmm. All the little backbiting and the backstabbing and stuff. Because the good thing about with men, like he said, their brains, they don't keep stuff in there and all this stuff. If they have it out today, by tomorrow they're ready to go to lunch together.
Yes. And
they're over it.
It's because of how we were, especially my generation, how we were raised. Your best friends are the people that you fought with. Mm-hmm. Your best friends are the people that you had fights with in the front yard. Those were your best friends. Those were the guys. And now, 30, 40 years later, you're still friends with those guys. And you used to try to kill each other.
And I think men can handle that better than I'm sorry, but women, and not all women. Let's get this right. Not all women are that way, but it just seems it just seems that men can solve those solutions better, and then they go back to work and they have the best work environment. They used to keep that teller line going. No drama running off because they, person down the line there looked at them the wrong way. You got work to do.
Oh yeah, and Cuzzo said she did the very same thing. They just come to work and they just come in and they do their work. And yes. I believe, and I think it's because we were raised on teams. Mm-hmm. We didn't need team building exercises because we understood what teams were. And I think that we come in and it's easy for us to understand this is a team situation. So when these people who are supposed to be the marriage gurus, the marriage guru people, and I'm gonna say this is controversial, I guess. And they've either not had successful marriages or they are not been on successful teams, don't really understand what that is. The fact is that the team becomes the most important thing. Not the happiness of not the happiness of the individual.
Yes.
On the team. That's not the important thing at all. If you have to sit the bench for the team to win, then you sit the bench. But we've seen especially in the past 20 years, we've seen with the advent of T-ball and the advent of what Little League has turned into, everybody gets a trophy and everybody has to play.
Everybody gets to play.
I think it'd be okay.
Even if you make the team lose.
I think it's okay to get a trophy, but dang, does everybody, even if you suck, have to play? At least if everybody got a trophy, you have a chance to win.
And I think that it would teach people how to be on their jobs later in the future, because if you have a skill that you're really good at, and your person in the cubicle to you doesn't have that skill, then you let them take the ball and they can do that skill, and then you do what you're best at, and then everybody wins. Everybody wins.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something controversial. You know why I think it got that way? Now I'm 58, and Debbie reminded me the other day that I'll be 59 this year. Thank you. I had forgotten. No, I had not forgotten. But it's because, frankly, more moms have gotten involved in those organizations. Dad, you failed because you let mom.
Because when men were handling it, they just let them play.
Let them play.
And if you didn't do well,
if your kid sat the bench, it was a bummer, but it wasn't good enough, and Dad knew he wasn't good enough. And then you go out in the yard and you try to make him better.
Yes, make the dads and even moms. They're ball players that are moms as well. That then teach your child how to be better at it. Practice with them. And that's what you do in regular real life in a job. If you're not good at something, then on your down times you need to practice at it.
Get better.
You need to take a class, take a course, learn how to do it. Get better at your skill.
Yeah, we even have a personal even have something personal about the whole sports thing. When our kid decided to play football at Armwood, is a very, very good high school football
Very
team.
competitive.
This nationally recognized football program. It's not the program that you join if you've never played any real organized football. That's not normally the one you start with. But that's where it was in proximity to where he was going to school in middle school, and so he decided that he wanted to play football there, and through a bunch of happenstances didn't play as a freshman, but did get to play JV as a 10th grader, and played a lot of JV football. Number 73 on JV. I remember something on JV. And then as Deb and I watched the program, we saw, dang, especially the varsity program, this is state champion.
Serious.
This is state championship sort of stuff. And then we saw the kids who played on varsity. We're like, dang, right? So Alex played a little less his junior year and a little less his senior year. But what he was a great teammate, because we understood the last thing we needed to do was go down to the coach and go, our kid needs
Why is he playing?
our kid needs to play more. Now, because why? Because we both know, because Deb's already told you that she understands football. She understands that, the kid playing his position on varsity his senior year is a Division I prospect and is 6'5", and weighs 330 pounds and can run like the wind and has been playing since he was 5, which was not our kid. Mm-hmm. So it made sense. So we were every bit as thrilled, and still are, with Armwood wins, whether our kid played in that game or not. Because now he understands what being a good teammate is. And I think that it's important, and I went around the circle there, but I think it's important that you understand in your relationships, not just your personal relationships, your marriage relationships, but like Debbie said, your work relationships, your business relationships, that if you're going to have a partnership, then it's got to be about the team. What's the most important thing? So holding stuff back from 8 months ago,
and bringing it up
because now it's convenient,
argument.
And you think that you can get some points in on the argument because it's important to win the argument as opposed to move forward, is probably not the way to have a successful relationship. Probably not. So the idea is I think it's important to, when things come up, you can either love it or list it. You can either fix it or forget it.
And you have to work on your marriage relationship. I mean, during times when you're not in the argument or anything, you ladies, I'm not saying that you have to just completely not talk about things that are your concern. When it's not in the heat of the moment, talk about it. Work on your relationship with your spouse. Mention things that you have concerns about and things, but do it in a tactful manner. That's something I have.
Well, it's tough because you see, the fixer and the dude wants to go, okay, so what
do you want me to do?
Okay, so we're not fighting right now. We're not even arguing. But okay, I'm hearing you. Obviously, there's a deficiency. What do you want me to do?
So you got to be ready.
And so they always say. So you say nothing.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times, women just want to talk about it. Sometimes we just need to get it out so that we don't bring it up in the argument. Sometimes we just need to talk about it.
And know that drives your man nuts, right? See, nobody else is going to talk to y'all like this. No one's going to talk to y'all like this. That drives your man nuts. Drives him absolutely around the bend.
But I don't want you to solve it. I just want you to listen.
But if it has to do with me, what I'm supposed to do? What I'm supposed to do?
Sometimes you can't solve it. Sometimes that's just you. and you just have to bring it up and let them know that this is a concern of mine, and I'm dealing with it, and you say, well, what do you want me to do? Just let me deal with it and understand that it's bothering me, and when it's gone, it's gone.
And you never know when it's gone. So you used to think we were going to tell you, you'll know when it's gone. Guys, no, you won't. You won't have any idea. You won't have any idea. So again, you can either love it or you can list it. Guys are more likely to list it. But there are times where you have to love it. You have to take the situation and you have to make it better. You have to change it.
You have to work on it.
You have to work on it. You have to make those changes. And sometimes they are small changes over time, because everything now takes time. Everything worth having takes a little bit of time.
Yes, you have to work for it.
There's no video you can watch. Even one of our videos, which are really good, had a bit of Donald Trump in me. They're great, really, really good.
Really good.
People have told us that they're the best. People say that they're the best. That we are the best couple.
Okay, that's enough of Trump.
The best couple on YouTube.
Okay.
People say that all the time. People tell me all the time. I love that. I like it. I don't care what you say. I like it. I like it a lot. But everything takes a little bit of time. Everybody takes work. You know what? You've heard the phrase. Anything worth having takes work. Anything worth having. So the idea is that these things that we're suggesting, you're not going to fix them tomorrow. You're not going to be able to talk to your spouse tonight when you get home about these things.
Because you know what? We've been married 31 years.
A lot of practice, a lot of trial and error.
A lot of practice, and it's not perfect.
And it's still not perfect. It's going to be. Why? Because people tell us that we're perfect. People tell us that we're perfect all the time. I can't help it. I can't help it. Sorry, not sorry. But the idea is that what we want to do what I want to do this morning is I want to get you to think about those kind of things when they come up, because if you can think about it when they come up, or even before they come up, you can start working about it. You can start working on it, because sometimes I think that things just sort of blow up in an afternoon, and before you know it, you're in this full-fledged MMA cage match, and you've not had any opportunity to think about how you got there, or even think about how to not get there again if that's not where you want to be.
Should not reach that point.
Yeah. So you have to think about these things before they happen. You have to sort of plan in your head and recognize when they come. Otherwise, again, you're back in the cage match, and people are throwing chairs, and you're like, what the hell? We're back here again. And I think people are back there again because you didn't give it any thought
ahead of time
when the pressure was off. It's like everything else. You have to prepare for those times, and you have to prepare your brain and your heart for those times before they happen, so you know how to react.
We have found that out with budgeting. Because you were saying the other day about that when people are stressed about bills and all this stuff,
their IQ goes down.
Yeah, you don't make good decisions. So when you have the money and when you don't, and you're in the good times, make wise decisions with your finances. And pay things ahead of time and keep things down low and all, so that when the pressure is on and you really do, you have these big bills that come up, insurance, property taxes,
yay, taxes.
All that stuff.
Taxes.
You have that stuff already ready to go, and you know what you're going to do. But if you are in a stressful situation and your lights are about to be turned off, you make stupid decisions. That's when you go to the Amscot.
Or
that's
you
when
take
you borrow money.
You take your last $30 and you go to the dog track thinking that you're going to win your light money. I'm gonna tell you, and y'all laugh, but I worked at Highlight, which is a pari-mutuel game, for two seasons. I worked at 2 seasons. 2 seasons, and there were people in there who were trying to win their light money. It's the stupidest.
With their last 30 bucks.
With their last $30 is the stupidest thing ever, right? But when you're under that sort of pressure, the research says that your IQ drops and you don't make good decisions. So a lot of times we characterize these people as lazy. We characterize them as stupid. We characterize them as all these negative things when they're just under pressure.
And they can't make good decisions.
So you're under pressure. So out of your pie hole comes some horrible thing to your spouse. And somewhere in your brain is like, what the hell did you say? It's because you're under pressure. And the idea is that you have to think about these things beforehand.
When you're not under the pressure,
because
that's
when the
best time
because
to
when
do
the
it.
pot boils over, someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to get burned. And that's not what you want. So we hope that you gained something from our little talk. Again, my apologies for being late. I was trying to be clever. Technically, failed. So it's my fault that we were late. And I hope that if you get anything out of it, please go to our YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube already, subscribe. Our goal is to by June to get to 100 subscribers. We're at 55 now, I think. So our goal is to get to 100 subscribers by June. That'd be great. So if just the people who are watching on Facebook today, if you subscribe, that's a big jump to there. So if you would do that, go to YouTube and look for Real Talk with Deb and Will, or Deborah Lawson, and you'll find it. You may even find it if you search for my name.
Possible.
Yeah, I've sort of made that happen. So if you do that, that'll be great. And comment there and give us a little heart. Click the notification bell so you'll know when we're going to be on, when these things get posted to YouTube. And when our vlogs get posted to YouTube, you'll have a notification of that too. And that's sort of the behind the scenes of our lives, which I think sometimes are pretty doggone interesting, especially for Black folks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So go ahead and do that. All right, we got to get out of here and make room for somebody else. So until we see you again,
it's been fun. Go
out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you again for watching. Well, we'll see you when we see you. Peace. We are out.
Love you.